Imagine you are walking out of your office on a Friday afternoon.
Oh, the best feeling.
Right. And your phone buzzes in your pocket. You pull it out, and there it is. That beautiful, comforting notification of a direct deposit just hitting your checking account.
The magic moment.
Exactly. $5,200. You take a breath, your shoulders drop, and for about, 5 minutes, you feel genuinely secure.
Yeah, but only for 5 minutes.
Exactly. Because almost instantly, the invisible machinery of your life kicks in. The auto drafts begin. $2,100 disappears for rent.
Poof, gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
$650 vanishes to the auto lender. $220 for car insurance. $480 to the credit card company.
It just keeps going.
It does. Then there's, the student loan, the grocery delivery app, the 7 different streaming subscriptions you forgot about, the gym, utilities. You blink, and that $5,200 has been completely vaporized, whittled down to a couple $100 to last you the next 2 weeks.
It is, it's the great modern vanishing act, truly.
It really is.
You see the money arrive, and you feel that psychological reward of having earned it. But before you can even strategize how to deploy it, that capital has already been spoken for by a dozen different institutional obligations.
Yeah, it's like you're not even the owner of the money.
Right. It's like being a toll booth operator. The money passes through your hands, but you don't actually get to keep any of it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because
Okay.
that vanishing act is exactly what we are exploring today on this deep dive.
And it's a critical topic.
For sure. We've been looking through some really fascinating documentary research on the invisible financial mechanisms that keep Americans feeling broke, regardless of how hard they work.
Yeah, the traps.
Exactly. The mission today is to answer a really relatable question. You did everything right. You got the degree, you landed the job, you even negotiated the raise. So why does it still feel like you are constantly falling behind?
To really understand this, we have to look at the economic landscape right now in 2026, because it's unique.
Give us the context.
Well, objective data first. Right now, American household debt is sitting near a staggering $18.8 trillion.
Wow. Trillion with a T.
With a T. But the source material points out this really strange psychological contradiction. In recent Federal Reserve surveys, nearly 73% of adults reported they were doing okay or living comfortably.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Right. But simultaneously, nearly 58% reported that recent price changes had made their actual financial situation worse.
Wait, so they feel okay, but they're objectively doing worse.
Exactly. People feel okay because they're surrounded by the physical markers of a middle-class life. But the underlying mathematical machinery keeping that life afloat, it's incredibly fragile.
We really need to look at the psychology there. Because, you can feel successful just because your surroundings look expensive, even if your net worth is literally zero.
Oh, absolutely.
A major premise in our source material is that the financial danger doesn't just come from having a low salary. In many cases, the trap actually gets bigger when your salary gets bigger.
Yeah, the human brain is incredibly susceptible to lifestyle creep, largely because we tie our physical environment to our professional status.
Right. We want to look the part.
Exactly. If you get a promotion and jump from making $60,000 a year to $80,000, your immediate instinct usually isn't, oh, great, I now have $20,000 to buy investments.
I wish it was, but yeah, no.
Right. The instinct is, I have arrived at a new tier of society. And my apartment, my car, my vacations, they all need to reflect this new tier.
It's like running on a treadmill where someone turns up the speed every time you get a raise. It's the principle of expanding gas. In physics, gas will naturally expand to completely fill whatever container you put it in.
That is a great way to put it.
And our living expenses do the exact same thing with our income. Unless you put a heavy, bolted lid on that container, an extra $10,000 a year just acts like a vacuum. It instantly sucks up a nicer apartment, a better car, more subscriptions.
And that upward adjustment completely bypasses our financial defense mechanisms because it doesn't feel like a mistake.
Right. Buying a luxury item feels like a victory.
Exactly. But wealth is completely misunderstood in modern culture. The documentary makes this so clear. Wealth is not your income, and it's certainly not your spending. Wealth is strictly what your income leaves behind.
What it leaves behind. I love that phrasing.
If your salary increases by $20,000 and your lifestyle costs increase by $20,000, you have generated zero wealth. You're just acting as a more highly paid conduit, passing a larger volume of money from your employer straight to other corporations.
But wait, let's look at the upper end of the income spectrum for a second, because there is this cultural mythology around the six-figure salary.
Oh, the magical $100,000 mark.
Right. For decades, making $100,000 was the undisputed gold standard of making it. Surely, if you cross that threshold today, aren't you automatically making enough to build wealth regardless of some lifestyle upgrades?
You would certainly think so, given the cultural weight of that milestone. But if you look at the 2024 Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the math tells a vastly different story about what it costs just to exist.
Okay, hit me with the numbers.
The average consumer unit spent $78,535. And that money isn't going toward lavish luxuries.
What's it going toward?
Just keeping a roof over your head consumes about 33.4% of that spending. Transportation eats up another 17%. Over half of a household's spending is entirely gone before anyone has bought a single bag of groceries, paid a medical bill, or saved for retirement.
Wow. So a high salary gets instantly devoured just by basic lifestyle baseline costs.
Which is why we have to constantly return to the wealth equation. Income minus consumption equals capital.
Capital being the magic word.
Exactly. Capital like stocks, real estate, ownership, that is the only mechanism that buys freedom. If every new dollar goes straight to consumption, you never actually accumulate capital. You never escape the paycheck.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If we know we need to keep our capital, why do we so easily give it away?
Because modern consumer culture relies on mathematical illusions. It hides the true cost of our lifestyle.
Right, and we see this perfectly with Trap 3, which is the car trap.
Oh, the auto industry is arguably the greatest master of this psychological masking. Let's look at the Q2 2026 data. Auto loan balances just hit $1.71 trillion,
Unbelievable.
with a record $211 billion in new borrowing. The mechanism behind this is fascinating. Human brains are just notoriously bad at conceptualizing large abstract numbers.
Right, like when someone walks onto a lot, a $70,000 vehicle doesn't register as a $70,000 loss of wealth.
Exactly. The sales process is entirely designed to break that massive, painful number down until it registers simply as, oh, it's just $950 a month.
It's like you aren't buying a vehicle anymore. You are buying a monthly subscription to a vehicle.
A very expensive subscription.
Yeah. And that perfectly connects to Trap 4, the credit card, and buy now, pay later trap. It's like looking at a mountain through the wrong end of a telescope to make it look like a molehill.
That's a perfect analogy.
Buy now, pay later makes a $400 purchase look like 4 harmless $100 payments. It completely bypasses the brain's natural financial defense system.
It bypasses the immediate defense system, sure, but your bank account is experiencing the cumulative reality of those decisions, and the numbers are huge. Q2 2026 credit card balances hit roughly $1.26 trillion.
Trillion. Again.
Trillion. And referring to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, 63% of buy now, pay later borrowers hold simultaneous loans. A third of them are bouncing between multiple different apps to do it.
So the brain just sees small installments, like $100 here, $50 there, but the bank account experiences one massive spending habit.
Exactly. Ultimately, you are slicing your future income into microscopic pieces and distributing them to retailers before you've even worked the hours to earn that money. You are borrowing from your future self.
Okay, so we've discussed consumer goods, but what about the biggest purchases and the expenses we can't really plan for? They operate on a similar delusion of affordability. Let's talk about Trap 5, the housing trap.
A very dangerous trap right now.
Right, because we're taught that renting is just throwing money away, and that buying the maximum house the bank approves you for is the goal. But that can be a massive financial anchor.
It can completely paralyze a person's finances. The 2026 Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies report shows affordability challenges are intensifying heavily.
Due to what, mostly?
High costs, a severe shortage of available units, and elevated mortgage rates. But the deepest vulnerability here is how people interact with bank approvals.
We just trust them blindly, right?
We do. But the critical distinction from the source material is this. Bank approval does not equal financial freedom.
Because the bank only cares if you'll default, not if you'll be wealthy.
Exactly. The wealth-focused buyer asks, can I afford this house and still build wealth, not just, can I make the monthly payment?
Which connects directly to maxing out a housing budget and Trap 6, the emergency trap. Because if you are house poor, what happens when the transmission fails on Tuesday or the roof leaks on Friday? You have no margin for error.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the macroeconomic data shows how common this is. Federal Reserve data shows 59% of adults had a major unexpected expense last year.
Almost 60%.
Right. But only 63% could cover a hypothetical $400 emergency with cash.
Which means the rest are going into debt for it.
Exactly. Without a buffer, emergencies become debt, which demands monthly payments, which reduces savings, leading to more debt when the next emergency inevitably hits.
An emergency fund isn't just a boring savings account. It's a defensive shock absorber for your investments.
I love that.
Right? Like if you hit a pothole with a good shock absorber, you feel a bump, but you keep driving. If you hit it with no shock absorber, you snap the axle.
And financial axles are snapping everywhere because of that lack of cash.
Now, while emergencies steal your present cash, the final trap, trap 7, quietly steals your future. It's the I'll save later trap. The cost here isn't a monthly statement. It's the loss of time and compounding interest.
Time is the most powerful asset. The source gives a great comparison between person A who starts investing at 25 and person B who waits until 35.
That 10-year gap is brutal.
It's the loss of a decade of exponential growth. And this is painfully real in retirement. The Fed's 2025 survey showed only 35% of non-retired adults feel their savings are actually on track.
But let's be fair for a second. Is it entirely the consumer's fault they aren't saving when just existing is so expensive right now?
Right.
I mean, are we just blaming people for bad habits?
That's a really important question. And the source material handles this structural reality very objectively. It's not just bad people with bad money habits.
Right.
Just looking at the July 2026 data, consumer prices were up 3.4%, which is above the Fed's 2% target. Meanwhile, inflation-adjusted wages were down 0.2%, and the personal savings rate fell to 2.7%. So we aren't taking sides here, we're just looking at the facts. It is a complex collision of high costs, easy credit, consumer culture, and, yes, financial decisions.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Since we cannot simply budget our way out of structural macroeconomic problems, how do we actually escape the traps we can control? What are the decisions we need to make?
The documentary synthesizes this into strategic pivots to make money irrelevant to daily anxiety. 7 main decisions.
Let's run through them.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Turn portions of every raise into assets. Don't let it become expanding gas.
Check.
2. Stop measuring wealth by appearance. Ownership is true wealth. 3. Think in total cost, not monthly payments.
Break the illusion. I like it.
4. Build resilience with a cash buffer first. Get that shock absorber. 5. Move from selling your time to owning productive assets like stocks, real estate, or skills.
In 6.
Don't wait for the perfect moment to invest. Let compounding work. Time is your apex asset.
And I really want to zero in on the 7th decision from the source because to me, it's the ultimate game changer. Increase your value. Oh, absolutely.
Because, you can only cut your coffee budget so much. There's a hard limit to saving. But there is a much, much higher ceiling on earning.
It's playing offense instead of just defense.
Exactly. Earning more while keeping your lifestyle controlled is the ultimate strategy. Which brings us to the core revelation of this deep dive. Picture 2 people earning the exact same $5,000 a month.
Okay.
Person 1 spends $4,900 on lifestyle, looking rich. Person 2 spends $3,800 on lifestyle and buys $1,200 worth of assets.
The allocator mindset.
Exactly. Over time, wealth isn't the car or the house or the Instagram photo. Wealth is freedom.
This raises an important question, though, because it reminds us that money isn't the destination.
Right, it's just a tool.
It is simply the tool that buys you choices. The choice to say no, to leave a bad job, or to take a calculated risk. I love that. And I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to mull over today. The next time you get a windfall, a bonus, or a raise, before you immediately ask what lifestyle upgrade you can afford, look at that extra money and ask yourself a different question.
What's the question?
Ask yourself, what is the exact price of my freedom and how many hours of my future life did this raise just buy back for me?
That changes everything.
It really does. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Start looking closely at the invisible machinery of your spending and start building the life beyond the traps.